Bonjour, my name is Anangwa Bikwe. Um, I am your great, possibly great grandma. Um, and I'm making this video for my future grandchildren. Um, I guess I just want to explain a little bit about what my world looks like and what I'm really hoping your guys's looks like because, you know, all I really want is the best for my relatives. In today's world, there's not a lot of representation of us in a good way within the media. And it's important for us to be seen in a positive way because when you only see yourself in a negative way, sometimes it feels like if that's all you're seeing, then that's what you're going to become. But I'm here to tell you that you are more than that and you can become whoever you want. Um, so kind of focusing on what life looks like now, Teresa Mailhot describes, we bear witness firsthand and then again via media reports articulating how bad we have it, if they notice this at all. And that's a lot of what is seen right now. Um, a lot of poverty porn, which is explained as any type of media, be it written, photographed, or filmed, which exploits the poorest condition in order to generate the necessary sympathy for selling newspapers or increasing charitable donations or support for a given cause, Mwanza describes. And that's kind of a lot of what we're seeing right now. And it's similar to maybe if this is still happening, commercials um, of maybe children who are dying and companies asking for donation. And, it's a way of making people feel bad. And, um, we've seen this. And an example I'm going to be giving you is a reporter named Diane Sawyer did a documentary on a reservation and really just portrayed how bad indigenous people and communities have it. I think an important part about this is Diane Sawyer within that documentary only showed the tragedy and didn't explain why there's all these tragedies. And I think a good way of explaining it um, is American media is so pervasive that few Americans are conscious that it continuously expresses an identity for Americans themselves that would otherwise be challenged by accurate portrayals, Richard Wheelock states. And I think that's a huge part, that being Indigenous, there's lots of tragedy. And there's also a lot of resilience. And America isn't ready to recognize that because it's hard. I mean, it's hard to learn about as an Indigenous person, and it's going to be hard for you. And I'm really hoping, you know, the American school system has changed and you are learning about all this. But it's hard, and it's hard for everyone, the people who did it and the people who were affected by it. Teresa Mailhot, again, she says, I resist an identity and grief, but I welcome tragedy. To me, the word is pregnant with meaning. I don't mind a tragic life in which there is a magnitude to my character, my loss, and it's all towards some end, a denouement. We have all endured lots throughout generations, but those don't have to define us. Um, there's this thing called intergenerational resilience. Um, and Bill White and Don Koyas describes that we are overcoming the statistics by being healthy and continuing living the good life and practicing the culture, which goes into the next part of what I'm trying to teach you right now, from the past, um, is practicing the culture and looking out for your relatives 7 generations before you and 7 generations, um, in the past. Um, I think in the future, I just really hope that there's more films like Prey and Reservation Dogs because they're filmed by Indigenous people. There's real Indigenous people acting in it, and specifically Prey by Dan Trachtenberg. Um, by the time you guys watch this, I'm assuming Prey is gonna be a very old movie, but I suggest that you guys watch it. You know, it's an Indigenous woman showing the media that we can be strong and powerful and we can become leaders within the community. Um, and even with that, even with that, there have been generations of racism and things won't be perfect. But I do believe that we've made huge steps and people are becoming more aware. And I believe that things will be different for you guys because these films um, are a representation of us. Um, Within a documentary, they described if you are so deeply embedded in being told religiously and socially and biologically that you're inferior and that's all you see around you, you can't imagine that things could be different. And that's without a whisper. Um, and that's exactly why I'm hoping things will be different for you guys because you need to understand how important we are as Indigenous people. You know, we can be the push for new and better generations. Um, and we are sovereign to each other, to the land, um, similar to Leanne Simpson describes us. And, you know, you guys can push to be better and show America and colonizers that we're still here and we're still resilient. And that's why I'm hoping that there's more films like Reservation Dogs and more films like Prey to show you guys that. Um, and I hope you guys are good and um, I'm sure I haven't met you guys, but I wish I would have. And I hope you would take this with good spirits.